Hello everyone. Today we have a GM5 console Reinhardt review, kind of. As you may have guessed from the title, there was a lot of swapping going on, so if you're only interested in the Rein section, use the timestamp below to skip ahead. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so getting into this replay, we're going to start out on Sigma, then do a little bit of Hog, and then Orisa, and then Zarya, and then Rein. I think. Yeah, let's figure this out. I'll have timestamps for all the different tank and which tank he's playing in the description. Alright, like I said, starting on Sigma. We're against the Hog, so should be a lot of fun. Sigma Hog matchup is good. Lots of counterplay with Rock, Hook, Breather. I guess Breather not anymore, so it's just Rock and Hook. And you can shield the hooks as well. Eat the... Oh, a lot of fun. He did mention that his Sigma gameplay and his other tank gameplay is not on the same level as his Rein gameplay, so we're going to give him a little bit of slack on that, but we still are, he is GM tank. We're going to expect him to have a decent idea of how all the matchups work, so we're going to look for cooldown tracking between Sigma and Roadhog in this matchup. Roadhog's already been pinged off to the right, and yeah, without even having to look, he gets our Moira. We back up because we have no heals. It's fine. Alright, and so first mistake, I guess we could say, I am going to say it's a mistake, is using the suck here. I know we're 200 HP, but we know our supports are coming back to us, right? The res just happened. And you know for a fact that this Hog has his hook. So sucking here is not good because the Hog should just hook you here. You're probably dead, right? Maybe not, but you're probably dead if he gets this hook. And luckily he wasn't looking at you. He was trying to hook the Mercy who's mid-flight. But, yep. First mistake. Good poke. Good use of cover. I think you're trying to get the bounce off that pillar. It's a pretty tight angle, especially on console. But the idea is definitely right. You know, if you can't peek out straight and hit them, then might as well do it from the side. I think you can peek out here. I mean, Hog used his hook a couple seconds ago, so you can just walk out as you shoot, hit two, walk back, but this is also fine. So Hog uses hook. That's going to give you the clearance to use your suck for the next 5 or so seconds. Also, Rock here is good because he's in a pretty vulnerable spot, and maybe your team will be able to capitalize here. Maybe not, but there's no reason not to. And also, it's good on you for getting in front of him. I don't know if this is on purpose, but if he hits the hook here, you're really going to want to save whoever he hooks. So you being here, body blocking, doing Rock, very good. Nice. Wow, timing was really tight there, but I think it was still fine. I want to say he didn't have hook until the end. I want to say you timed that right. Yeah, very close, but pretty good. The poke is fine. I do want to point out we saw for the first time we put our shield behind the Hog to, separate him from his healing, which is good, and we should be doing more of that. The shield, I think you know this, but maybe some people who are watching don't know this. The shield is more used to block specific cooldowns and bursts of damage than it is like a Rein shield where you're kind of just using it for general protection. So, blocking hook with shield, or putting shield behind the tank to block his healing for 1 to 2 seconds, stuff like that. It's much better suited for that than it is to just put it in front of you to kind of save yourself some health. All right, and we're out of position here. Our whole team is out of position here, such is life. But we don't really have the cooldowns to take this space, right? So on tank, we're looking to take space as much as we can, but we don't have our resources available to take the space, right? So we've kind of traded our suck already. Our shield is low. We're walking into this trap. We're not even, full health, right? And so we're taking space here, and look at like the situation we're in it's just not a very good one, which is why I say you're out of position, right? It's not being in front as a tank is correct, but not in this instance. We get punished for it, and that's okay. That was just a little stunt on Sigma. We're not gonna dive too deep into it, but just a couple tips about how to play the matchup, how to use your shield, stuff like that. All right, so we're on Orisa now. I skipped over that last fight where we were on Sigma. There was a second one, but I didn't feel like we could really learn anything from it that we didn't already get from the first one, so we're just going to move straight on to the Orisa gameplay. I have already watched this next fight. It is kind of horrendous. I'm not all the blame is on you. That's okay, but I want everybody watching this to just watch this fight. I'm going to play it all the way through until you die with no commentary, and I want you to think what mistakes are being made, and then I'm going to rewind it back, and we're going to go over what the main problems were with this fight, because there are a couple, big awareness things that need to be touched on here. So I'm going to play it all the way through. I'm going to stop the talking, and then we'll go over it afterwards. All right. So mistake number one, and the biggest mistake, right? The biggest mistake. Let's watch this. All right, so we're getting ready to go in, and you all know what happens after this, right? Here we go. Mistake number one. All right, you get it, right? And so that while that's not us playing tank poorly, that is us. I mean, we got to group up, right? This is GM, low GM, high masters, whatever the elo of the lobby was. There's probably no communication, but we if we're not going to contest that cart before they get the checkpoint anyways, there's literally no point in going out before our team's ready. So that's mistake number one. There are more things we need to talk about that are now directly related to your gameplay. We used our spin to take space, but we were going to get that space anyways, right? I mean, there was no threat that warranted the spin here, so. As soon as you hit the spear on him, you're good. There's no, like, your team is fine, and the spin is going to get you closer to him, but you're not going to kill him. And it's not going to save you from damage, so the spin is wasted. And then the fortify is also wasted, right? So we kind of just burn both of our abilities, and you'll get use out of the fortify. Don't get me wrong, right? Like, you'll get use out of your overhealth, but you're not in any sort of critical danger at all, So basically what's going to happen here is the sim is going to just charge up her beam on you, and you really have no cover either, right? Your robot's the cover, but it's not great cover. They're just going to play ring around the rosy here and see you. And you're really going to want that fortify once her beam gets to the higher level, right? And so the thing is here is that if you had used your fortify later, maybe you live until your Ana gets here, and then she throws nade on you, and then you guys win the fight. Probably not, right? They have both support ults going, but maybe it happens. So not in love with the Orisa gameplay. I think you clearly know those are wrong. Like, watching it back is going to be very obvious for you, I think. But a learning experience for some people. So let's move on to the next opportunity. All right, next fight, still on Orisa. Let's get into this. Nice trying the spear. If you get him off of high ground, that's huge. He has to rotate super far. You don't hit it, but that's fine. Happens. Good fortify, because we're the focus of everyone on the enemy team, right? So it's not just the sim trying to shoot at us. It's basically everyone. And overhealth is instantly useful. Plus, I don't know if you even noticed, but you get hooked, or you would have gotten hooked right when you fortify. So this is probably not intentional, but it works out really well for you. So far, 2 out of 2 on abilities. Spin is fine. We're just kind of using it to mitigate damage at this point. And we are doing a good job of just kind of being in there contesting the robot. This is a lot better. One thing that some people might not pick up on during this replay is the fact that we're able to stay in line of sight of our supports while we're doing this. So the Mercy is obviously going to be a little more flexible. Yeah, and your Honor shouldn't be here. So your Honor should be back here, honestly. But the fact is that you're playing in a spot where a good positioned Honor should be able to see you the whole time, right? Let's watch this kind of from a different point of view. Right? And this is something that lower level tanks might not do very well, is know where their supports are and where they can play, right? Because honors are usually going to be like in this vicinity or in this vicinity, not here. And so where you're playing, your positioning is very good during this fight. Your ability use is good as well. This feels a lot more like a GM tank. I have no idea how or why he stopped shooting you while you gold. And you dropping here is probably a mistake. Hard to say. Okay, we'll say dropping is fine. You didn't know if he was going to keep shooting you and you were 200 HP. But you are putting a lot of pressure onto your team. And that was the first time where our focus kind of really dropped during the fight, right? When we needed to get back into it, we kind of tunnel vision on the Lucio, and we're not really going to have kill pressure on him at all. We need to go back and try and focus more on our team there and figure out what's going on, you know, in front of them, what's going on with the rest of the fight. Right? If we help with this hog, the hog could die. Because you're going to be hitting pretty much all of your shots on him. Huge target. You have your spear, or you had your spear. You wouldn't have had spin or fortify, right? But you could have helped out huge with this hog. Maybe your Ana has nade here. She has nade coming up in 1 second, right? And so maybe she nades the hog. Maybe you guys kill him. But that's just, you know, one small mistake in the fight. It's just your focus there. But otherwise, still has been a good fight. Let's keep moving. Yeah, you get the nano. There's only one thing to do, right? Okay, and you get the kill. It is a little unfortunate. Oh wow, it was actually on the Lucio. What was I looking at? Oh, okay, soldier got life weavered out. That's fine. I think when you get nanoed, you go for it there, even if you don't know what cooldowns they have up. You are pretty lucky to get this Lucio. That's good. That was good. I think you can be even closer, like right up in that hog's face, right? Like all the way up in his face. Just get in between him and whoever he's trying to shoot. So right here is good. And then when your on-star is backing up, I would honestly rotate around like as much as you can and try and get in the middle of them, right? It's not going to matter. You guys won the fight anyways. That was a good fight from you. That was really good. I know you said you aren't as comfortable on your other tanks as you are on Rein, but that fight was pretty good on Orisa. All right, I skipped forward a little bit. We kind of pushed the robot, and then our Ana died, and our team wasn't together, so we moved back, right? And so now we're moving into next fight. This is the position, and there's also a visor going on. So we're gonna start from here, and we're gonna start this fight kind of in overhead view and see what you do. Right, and I think you have a very easy time figuring out what went wrong here. I'll play it one more time through on your actual perspective. Right, and you just get absolutely bullied by beam characters. Your supports are nowhere near you. There's at least one ult, yeah, just one ult going off in the back line. And so you need to have the awareness there to rotate back to the rest of your team. And you're just going to have to give them whatever cart progress they get. That's just going to have to happen. So I'm not going to linger on this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we made it to the Rein gameplay. Finally, it's been a while. If you just skipped here in the timestamps, welcome to the party. And there seems to have been a little bit of like mind play going on picking tanks and which tank to pick and trying to get your enemy to counter pick and whatever, right? But this is our most comfortable tank, the tank we feel the best on. And we're going to hope, you know, that we're not getting counter swapped over and over and over and over again. They're just going to pick something that we're comfortable against, or sometimes even not, and we're just going to have to roll with it, right? I always recommend you just play your best heroes, and whatever they play is whatever they play, unless you're like playing Junkrat and they're on Pharah, and then sometimes you got to switch, guys. All right, so the fight starts roughly here. We're on Rein, obviously. Our team's still doing our team things, and they're on Orisa now. So this is what I think is going to happen for the rest of the replay. Could be wrong. Kind of the meat and potatoes of this VOD is Rein into Orisa and what we're going to do about that. And yeah, this is a Great example of what it feels like to play tank in season 7. Yeah, and I don't even think there's too much to do there besides backing up faster, right? We do need to realize how much damage we're taking and what we can handle. Excuse me. And throwing that fire strike just kills us. We might be dead anyways if the Orisa gets behind us and spears. We don't really realize how much damage we're taking, and we throw one too many fire strikes, can't get the shield up in time, and we're dead. I do feel like we're missing out on a little bit of support here, but they shouldn't have to bail you out anyways. You should be good enough to know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, so our Ana looks away from us for literally 2 shots, I think. And we die because we're just taking that much damage, didn't find cover. That one's definitely on us. So we can watch that back. All right, I have nothing to say about that. Let's go to the next fight. If Rodriguez13 is watching this video, I'm sorry. All right, guys, I skipped forward a whole lot, but there really just wasn't anything to learn. So we're going to move ahead to wherever this point is. And here, the fight does get a little hairy. I've watched it. I'm not really sure what I even think about it yet, but we're going to watch it again and try and get an idea of what we think is going on. Because we do end up losing this fight, even though right now they have multiple in spawn. And these are the only 2 people left for their team. So somehow we are going to lose this fight. We're going to try and figure out what happened, what we could do about it. Because we do actually play fairly well, but there's clearly something we could do more if we're going to lose. I mean, it's a 5v2, and their team is coming back. And we do end up losing this. So something obviously goes wrong is what I'm getting at here. Okay, enough rambling. All right, so we ignore the Orisa, which is good, because there's nothing for us to do with that Orisa. And so our play is still good here. This is where the fight falls apart. So you can see way off in the back, we killed the Baptiste. And the Orisa takes out both of our DPS. Yeah. And so nothing for us to do here. Nothing, you know, no misplays. So moving forward again, in the time it took us to go kill the Baptiste, the rest of our team fell apart, and sometimes life is like that, nothing you can do. So moving on to the next one. We're still looking for Shatter here. The only thing that can block it is Fortify, obviously, but Fortify won't save the rest of her team. It'll just save her. But hopefully we can, you know, get her without Fortify or optimally shatter the back line is good. Both of their supports make it hard for Shatter, right? Lifeweaver can pedal people who get shattered. He can also pull people. So you're going to want to look out for both of those abilities. And Baptiste Lamp is a problem. So we're going to want to either shatter them or shatter someone else when they don't have those cooldowns. This is good. I like that you're not forcing the issue down low. The point's going to come up to you and then you can play your corners. Wow, what a play. Lifeweaver pulls you at the perfect time. Good on you for staying back with your Lifeweaver, but these fights are just so split and so scattered that it's going to be hard for Rein to really do anything, right? Rein wants to brawl and wants everybody to be close. You want to be cleaving people, and this is just the exact opposite of that. So kind of picking an anchor point, and your Lifeweaver is a great one to pick, and just sitting there, I'm fine with it. There's just not a whole lot for you to do, right? As soon as that Orisa ults, your hands are kind of tied. As you probably know, shielding the Orisa ult doesn't actually do anything, but it does save you from the soldier damage, right? And from his perspective, it's really annoying. This is why you shield, right? All right, and we just totally leave our Life Weaver to die. Could we have done anything about that? No, we couldn't have. We could shatter the Orisa, but it's not like she's gonna die. She's gonna stand back up. We don't have any kill pressure, so it's correct of us here to leave. Nice, great. Finally, we hit our shatter. We hit it on the right people. We don't tunnel vision the Orisa. So, not much to say about this either. Really, not much to say about this whole VOD. It's been either really good or really bad. Not a lot of in between, and it's all felt pretty self-explanatory. All right, I skipped ahead again. We just cleaned up the last fight. Yep, get behind cover. Oh man, what a struggle. This fight is so painful. But we're in there. These fights are just all over the place, right? Everyone is everywhere. I think when your Sojourn goes in with that ult, you got to try and get in there with her. So I don't know if Sojourn ult is considered like a fight winner, but when she's nanoed like that, your job as tank is to take space and, you know, get their cooldowns out and soak that in. So anytime you have a nano DPS who's trying to go in, you just want to take as much space for them as possible. And I really mean like as much space. So the most common example of this is Nanoblade. If someone on your team is nanoblading, you just pin into the back line, like as deep as you can get. You're trying to soak up as much damage that's meant for the Genji as possible. You're trying to soak up sleep or nade or lamp, whatever, right? It's the same for Sojourn with Overclock. It's the same for Nanovisor. Really whatever it is, right? You're just trying to get in there. And so I think the first mistake in this fight comes from the point where we get the Nano Overclock and our Sojourn is going in and taking the focus, and we don't just get in there as deep as we can. And the problem with this is that where even is there, right? If we want to get in there, where the hell is there, right? It's kind of just whatever focus is on the Sojourn, that's the focus we want to take. And so what we could do is, instead of going for the Kiriko, who's almost certainly going to have Swift Step here, we can just pin. Either we wait for Fortify here, which is not a great option, or we just like jump around this corner and pin in here somewhere. So putting pressure on this Life Weaver who's looking at our Sojourn, putting pressure on the Orisa who's looking at the Sojourn, but not the Kiriko, right? Because the Kiriko is going to be able to get away from us. You need to facilitate this Sojourn right now. Luckily, your team's putting in the work. We're chasing the Kiriko around. We've already, you know, watched our perspective. And maybe it's a good thing that you don't get all the way in there, because the Sojourn just gets life gripped. But you would have been fine. She killed the Bastion, or the Bastion killed the Bastion. I don't really even know. Somehow the Bastion died. And there's no way that they kill you without your team coming to help you. But right, we're just not really doing anything. And that's good, but it's too little too late. Alright, let's start this fight in this view. Eventually we're obviously going to go into first person, but for now let's do this. Very unfortunate for you is that you have to play the robot. So there's not going to be a whole lot to watch here. In fact, we're going to play this from your perspective instead of this perspective. You don't even get to watch the fight, right? You have to just play the robot. So that's what we're going to do. Great pin. That's really your only option there. That's all you can do. And you did it. Love that. Shielding the soldier so that your Sojourn can deal with her. Very good. And yep, you're staying with the robot. Alright, that was perfect from you. Only a couple decisions involved, but they were all executed properly. We have Shatter here. I think you said you won this game, but I'm not actually sure. And this Shatter could potentially be like the game-winning ult, depending on how it's used. I'm not going to do any more cuts until the end of the game. We're just going to watch this through and see how it goes. GG's, right? GG's. What do I even say? What do I coach about this? Not too much to say, right? I can say one thing. If this Kiriko had cleanse, it might not be GG, right? But it... No way, did she get shattered? I take back everything. You know? Yeah, shatter was perfect. You get the Kiriko on purpose or on accident, it doesn't matter, and then the Bastion ult cleans up. That's gonna be game, isn't it? As for the recap for this game, there isn't a whole lot to recap. The first half of the game was tank roulette, and while there are good micro tips for Orisa or Sigma in there related to ability use, there wasn't a whole lot of big ideas to take and implement going forward. Rein was pretty hard to summarize as well. The game was really chaotic with fights happening all over the map without a focal point. What I can say does need work, however, is being aware of where your team is and how much support you have. While playing tank, you should have a resource meter in your head. There are two sides to this resource meter. One side for your team and one side for the enemies. The goal is to think about how much threat is there against me right now versus how much support is behind me right now. Some things that influence this on your team's side are your health bar, your mitigation abilities, how many supports you have alive, how many of those supports can see you, and how close you are to natural cover. On the enemy side would be things like which characters they're playing, which cooldowns they have available. For example, if they have a Bastion who's holding tank form, you need to adjust your playstyle. Same with Onanade, Hog's Hook, Sigma's Rock, etc. And also, what ults do they have? If you're on Rein and they have Whole Hog, you need to adjust your playstyle, right? So where I'm getting with this is you need to account for as many of these things as possible and play based on that. They don't have their offensive cooldowns and you have your mitigation abilities? Walk up and take space. They have 3 big ults and you're down a support? Don't walk up and take space. The best tanks in the world are really good at this and probably don't consciously think about it. They know when they can be aggressive and when they need to slow it down. The better you are at this, the higher up you're going to climb. Some of you may have figured it out already. This scale that I'm showing represents your game sense. And while yours specifically is pretty good, there's still elements that you haven't put on the scale yet, so to speak. Once you can think about all of those things at once, then you can take your gameplay to the next level. So yeah, think about where your team is, think about what that means for how you can perform your role, and move forward from there. I'm going to point any aspiring tank player over to A10's YouTube channel. He doesn't post much anymore, but his entire channel is a goldmine of information for tank players to take advantage of. That's all I have for today. I know there may not have been a clear direction in this review, but sometimes it ends up like that and it's okay. I got this review from my Discord server, which will be linked down in the description below. If you want to get your VOD reviewed, all you have to do is join and submit a request in the correct channel. If you got value from this video, I would appreciate a like as it goes a long way in pushing out my content to new viewers. I hope you enjoyed, but more importantly, I hope you learned something today. See you in the next one.